What's going on, guys? King Shrats here, back with another video on the channel, and today is pizza day. Homemade pizzas. We had to do something a little different for the content, so we've got two different kinds of pizza. On your whatever side this is, I can't think straight right now. We have got a shrimp Alfredo pizza. It's got shrimp as well as mussels because I had to get extra protein on there. Obviously Alfredo base with some mozzarella cheese. And on the other side, which was, I can't think straight, whatever side it is on your screen, we've got a barbecue chicken pizza. It does have an Alfredo base too, so it's basically a barbecue chicken Alfredo pizza. Barbecue chicken, obviously more barbecue sauce, mozzarella, and of course a lot of little seasonings going on. If you are digging the content, like, subscribe, thumbs up, all of that cringy YouTube stuff. Also, right here, you'll see this in a second, but we've got some own homemade garlic butter. It's garlic. I can't believe it's not butter because I try to be healthy. But I gotta dig into these, man. They smell so good. So I'm just gonna grab, you look like a prime candidate. Yeah, okay. Nice Alfredo base. I didn't want to go too heavy on the pizza. No, first bite, no. I know this looks like a lot, but for me this is a light meal. I wanted thin crust. I didn't want to go too crazy on the Alfredo sauce because it's really heavy. I've been dying to try this though, so you gotta give me here. Homemade spicy garlic butter. No. No. Come here. We're just gonna do that right here for now. I can't believe it's not butter, garlic, parsley. And that. That's it. Oh man, that is good though. You could put this on anything. I didn't want the heavy crust. We got a nice thin crust going. You hear the crunch game. Alright, let's get a barbecue piece though. Let's get a barbecue piece. Is there even chicken on this piece right here? Oh, there is. I'm stupid. The mix. Oh. The mix. Oh. The mix of that savory, garlicky Alfredo sauce with the sweet barbecue, hickory barbecue sauce, sweet baby rays, the sugar-free. You know, I be trying to keep it lean. Wow. I don't even know which one I like better. I don't. Oh, this is a major move though. This almost tastes like clam chowder. I love clam chowder. You know what would actually probably bang on here? Something sweet, like maybe corn. I did the what was that called again? The Pizza Hut KFC pizza. And that sweet corn with like the savory, it just worked. And ever since then I was like, yo, I should probably put corn in the pizza one day. I have to do that. A little seasoning check. See all that? Red pepper flake, oregano, garlic, parsley. This is almost out. Yeah, it is. When you add that butter to it, man, that is a W. Hands down. Whoa. My bad, I had to check if the router was on. A lot of times I leave my router on and it gets that popping sound in the background and now I'm paranoid. It's just crazy. I like this one a lot. I don't like folding feet. We don't take out. Chicken was done in a skillet. I don't have any footage. Of course, garlic. I actually added a little lemon pepper because I'm weird. And obviously marinated with the barbecue sauce. Sheesh. Look at a piece of shrimp. I don't know. Y'all do this? Y'all be taking the toppings off the pizza before you eat it? I can't help it. Well, I think, excuse me, I didn't cut this all the way. I do have my pizza cutter here. Adding the hot sauce to that. I don't have to put hot sauce on a pizza now. Now give me a minute. See, it's not cut all the way. I don't even care. Watch it. Like it's gonna stop me. Done. Get a little seasoning check. Did y'all see the seasoning on there? Am I tripping? There you go, right? Bro. I know if I do something like get Domino's or something like that, more people watch it, but I would rather get this. No cap. Especially over in okay. I think I'm not in the small percentage. Most people would agree with me when you say you prefer, and I'm not talking about watching videos, I'm talking about just in general. You prefer home cooked food over eating out. Unless, did you grow up in a house or wherever you grew up where like somebody couldn't cook? Because my mom was a great cook. I loved eating homemade stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I couldn't imagine if she wasn't. I think less and less people are cooking now though, so it might be more prevalent. Oh, goodness, that, man. I have butter and barbecue sauce all on my face. I don't care. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people, and funny enough, a lot of people that I've dated over the years, they don't cook. Not that I care, I cook, but I feel like most of my friends don't cook either. They eat a lot of takeout. That's like whatever gender. I think now because, you know, gender like roles are being blurred. You know, there are most couples are both working, and you know, everybody has careers. I think, you know, in the older days, you know, like women were expected to cook. I don't really think that's fair because I'm a guy and I like cooking. Honestly, if you marry me, like, you ain't gotta cook. Good luck marrying me though. You don't have to cook. If you want to, hey, you know I'm gonna eat it. But growing up, I would say 90% of the meals cooked in my house are made by my mom. I would say like 4% were made by me or my sister, and I'll give my dad a good solid 6%. There was just one thing that we knew in my house. If my dad was cooking, we was having spaghetti. He only knew how to cook like 3 things. He got better as he got older. But I would say up until like, I was probably like 10, spaghetti. Eggs. Or like, you know what a dad thing to do is? Y'all know that, everybody has a different name for it, but you know that the toast, when you crack the egg in the toast and you eat it like a, we used to just call it egg and toast, but I know other people call it different stuff. He used to make that all the time too. You know, he wasn't like frying chicken or anything like that. There was probably like a 2-year phase where he started cooking a lot. That's where my like real love for cooking came from. We used to watch Emeril Lagasse. I don't know if like you guys know who that is. But Emeril was like one of the Food Network like OGs. There was a point in time where the Food Network has really changed. There's not, you know, when I was in the 90s, you know, obviously I was really young, but the Food Network was like 100% cooking shows. That's all it was. You know, I would say now it's probably half that, but he came along and he started cooking live. He had a show called Emeril Live. He had his other shows too, but that's what we used to watch. This man was cooking in front of a crowd. There was a live band. You know, he'd be bantering with the crowd back and forth. Like, it kind of changed the game. You know, he kind of made, okay, for me, food fun, food cool. Like, you know, most of the time when you watch cooking shows, not now, you know, but I'm talking like, again, traditional ones, they were just very like, all right, now we're going to add the salt, and I'm just like, all right, this doesn't even look fun. I just want to eat it. But Emeril used to have all these little catchphrases, and, you know, he used to like have a little thing when he threw the seasoning. Forget Salt Bae. It's an OG right here. He used to throw it down, the whole crowd would go bam! And that was like, you know, for me, like dope. I wanted to be like that. That's really where my thing for cooking started. And my dad also really liked Emeril too. So he bought like the Emeril cookbooks. He bought like 5 of them. And he screwed up like 48 straight recipes. He did. He made some of the worst gumbo you've ever tasted. See, in a lot of Louisiana, the Cajun cooking, and any like stews, but you know, Cajun cooking is heavily influenced by obviously French, but there's also Spanish aspects, African aspects, because that's kind of where the culture's blended, and you got that, you know, New Orleans, the Cajun food, whatever you want to call it. So, one of the techniques in French cooking is called a roux. I'm just explaining, people who might not know this. It's when you combine a starch and fat. Most of the time, it's a butter and flour mix. And certain recipes call for a darker roux than a lighter roux. Gumbo, you don't want to burn the roux. If you burn the roux, and that's spelled like R-O-U-X, I believe. If you burn the roux, the whole thing's ruined. And he just couldn't get it. And he would keep going. And gumbo tasted like burnt. It was so bad. He finally got it eventually, though. But it was fun, you know, watching him make this stuff, watching Emeril make this stuff. And that's when, like, I thought, like, cooking was, like, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, cooking, people never looked at the chef as, like, a cool, I'm talking more like a mainstream thing. Not, obviously, if you're cooking in a 5-star restaurant, it's a cool job, but no one really sees you. you know, you're in the back. But all of a sudden, you have these chefs front and center, celebrity chefs. You know, Emerald had his own line of like pasta sauces and mustards and, you know, the cookbooks and all that stuff that came along with it. And for me, I know there were others. Wolfgang Puck was another one. Now there's tons. Obviously, you can go like back even further. What was the name of that movie they had about it? What was her name? Julia Childs, I believe. I think so. But she was like one of the first like cooking shows. But that's before my time. But for Emerald, I had that was like cool. You know what I'm saying? He had like the sayings. He had me in the kitchen cooking eggs, and I'm throwing pepper on, like bam. So that's when I started like creating stuff in high school. You know, I never thought of myself like going anywhere with it. It was just a hobby. Then came the next wave of foodies where they were getting younger. A lot of the food people before the new wave of people were like older in age. You know, Emerald wasn't a young guy. He wasn't an old guy, but I remember it really changed when, I always do that. The Food Network was looking for people, and they found, or they had a show called The Next Food Network Star. And I remember watching that show, and there was a dude on there who was the same way. He had his own lingo. You're going to get what I'm talking about probably once I say it. Bleach blonde hair, the sunglasses, a weird bowling shirts, but he had his own thing, his own swagger, his own thing he brought to it. That person became Guy Fieri, but I remember watching that season and being like, I hope this guy wins. And this is where it really took off for me. He did win. He had a cooking show first. It was called Guy's Big Bite, which was a cool show. I used to watch it all the time. You know, he'd make different dishes, but it wasn't live. So here's where the part 2 came in with me. You all know the show now, but when it first started, it took a little bit for it to kind of like pop. And that was Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. You know, he came in, he's in the Camaro, and hey folks, you know what I'm saying? He would go to the restaurant, you know, he talked to the people, find out about the most popular dishes, talk to the people that were eating there, to the staff. Kind of give you a little bit of like a behind the scenes look on how the food's made. And that for me was like, you know, you see my eyes light up. Now, not only am I a person who loves cooking, but that turned me into a foodie. I started trying to find these places. If they were in New Jersey, I would go to them. And when I was out in the Midwest, there were several in Des Moines. I would go to them. I would start trying to find like these, like, you know, hidden gems and kind of stuff. And that's kind of where I became a big time foodie. And then here comes part 3. Now, I'm watching the Food Network all the time. Cooking shows, you know, obviously Triple D, which is what it's known as now. But here comes the Travel Channel. Now here comes my third part. There was a show about a guy who would go to different countries now, because I'm only thinking American. And he would go off the beaten path. He would talk to the locals. He would eat with the locals. He would eat at their houses. He would eat, you know, these shops that no one ever thought of. And even funnier, he'd get drunk the whole time. I'm sorry I spit. I'm basically going through my food inspirations now. So I was watching that show religiously. The show was called No Reservations, and You guys, some might know, some might not. The host's name was Anthony Bourdain. He was fantastic. His show. He had an air about him that, and I'm speaking in past tense because he sadly passed away a few years ago. Was one of my biggest inspirations as well. But he had this air about him that he was going to play by his rules. Everybody else seemed very straight-laced. They were afraid to curse. They were afraid to do them. And he just seemed like he was going to do him. He had a strong opinion. He would say what he wanted to say, and half the time he was drinking, and it was funny. So I watched that show for years too. I used to DVR Emerald Live, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. This is while I was in school. And no reservations. I would watch them over and over again, honestly. This is all the while I'm a college athlete. But at the same time, I'm trying to figure out how to perfect crab cakes, which I still haven't made in like 5 years. I'm gonna have to do that one day. So, Anthony Bourdain was one of my biggest too. I remember he did an episode where he was in Antarctica. It don't get more crazy than that. Like, he just, now I'm thinking about worldwide type of stuff. Fourth one. Chapter 4. Show starts about a guy who worked in the food industry. I'm not going to get this one too. You probably already know what it is. He decides he wants to enter eating contests. Obviously, it's the premise of the show. He would visit some places around town, and then he would find an eating challenge, and he would go there, and he would try to take it on. And you would watch, like, oh my gosh, this guy can eat all this food. And in my head, I'm going, I could do that. So one time I tried it. He made this, he was in, I want to say it was the University of Michigan. And it was a mountain of nachos. It was called Mount Nachismo. I have a really good memory. So I made my own. And I ate it in like 30 minutes. And I was like, I can do this. That show obviously is called Man vs. Food. And that was Adam Richman. So that's kind of like where all of the different content you see today is coming. Obviously, I can't really travel right now or go anywhere or eat in restaurants. I've only gotten to do it one time at that BBQ, the burrito place. That was probably the most fun I had as an eating challenge because I was interacting with people in the place, and that was awesome. And I can't wait until this, hopefully sooner rather than later, this whole thing is kind of behind us and we can start going and doing these things. But those are my 4 for me. There have been others, for sure. But if I had my Mount Rushmore of food for me, those are the people who inspired me the most, kind of to run with the content thing. Obviously, it's not my day job, but let me get some pink lemonade in here. I love pink lemonade. But it's kind of where, now that I decided to like do the YouTube thing, and that's kind of where all of the different things you see come from. The eating challenges, the, visiting restaurants. I'm taking the food home with the highest rated, stuff like that. The cooking. This is where it all came from. So first credit obviously goes to my parents. A lot of people ask me these questions, and I just figured to get it in the video. The people that are watching this right now are the ones that I think every channel has this same thing. If you're going to make content all the time, you have viewers who tune in for certain content, and then you have viewers who tune in for all of it. I don't judge anybody, because anybody who subscribed to the channel, thank you. Some people would rather see the eating challenges, and they would rather see you know, when I'm doing reviews and stuff like that. I can understand that, you know. And there are some of you that prefer these videos. I get comments in these videos all the time. You know, you should do more homemade stuff. I do a lot of homemade stuff. A lot of people don't watch it, but I do. If you look at the analytics of my videos, I think I have something like 300 videos now. Total. I think it's something like 250 or 300. Because I do content every single day. Pretty much. My eating challenges are literally every single one on the top. The least viewed are these. And I'm not saying that because I care. I'm just telling you, like, that's kind of how it is. If I cared, I'd be doing eating challenges every day. You know, I like doing this kind of stuff, and people still like it. And it's not like it's like a huge discrepancy, but there is a gap. It's sizable, but it's not like crazy. If I was recording myself doing this and there were no views, then yeah, I probably wouldn't do it because I'm gonna just eat in the couch then. But there's plenty of you guys that watch all this, you interact, like it's crazy to me, and not in a bad way, in a good way. And I guess the last part of the food review thing, I've always liked fast food. I know a lot of people think it's always bad for you. Whatever. That's a debate for another day. I've said this before, I am perfectly healthy. I get blood, screens and labs and you name it. Most people don't even do that. So if you haven't, you might want to, because you never know. But I've always loved fast food. I grew up eating fast food. In the summertime, where I live, growing up, there are a lot of fast food places that are by bike 2 minutes away. And I'm talking like 15 or 20 different places. Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, Popeyes, all that stuff. So it's all easily bikeable. And me and my buddies, we would ride our bikes to these places for lunch every single day. I remember there was one specific summer. I mean, most of y'all probably remember McDonald's has Monopoly? Oh, we was trying. We never won. We won like fries and stuff. We never won anything. I think one time one of us got Boardwalk. We needed Park Place, which no one has Park Place, but we would get excited when there were new promos. It wasn't like now, though. As a kid, so you're talking like 90s, late 90s. The fast food stuff you see today, it wasn't like this at all. McDonald's served what they served. There wasn't a new sandwich or a new coming out every other, stuff like that. But when they did, I remember McDonald's had, and I still think they should bring this back. McDonald's had something in the late 90s, early 2000s. They had wings. They were called Mighty Wings. And these wings were fire. Like, I don't know what got rid of them. I used to smash these wings. Me, funny enough, you don't really see him on this channel, but if you follow my Instagram, I have basically my two friends. Kevin is one of the two, and he was older than us. So he was driving when I was like 14, like something like that. So at this point, you're talking like early 2000s, late mid 2000s. Doesn't matter. Sometime in the 2000s, man. And we were cool with a guy who was the manager at a McDonald's near us. I don't know, he didn't get in trouble. This is like 20, almost 20 years ago. I'm old. We used to go before close, and they used to throw food out if it wasn't going to eat it. So we would get a tray, similar to this tray. and he would just take like nuggets, chicken, the wings, chicken nuggets, French fries. He would just lay it out on the table and just smash food at the end of the day. And I used to eat up mad Mighty Wings. Like, they keep bringing the McRib back. Can we bring back the Mighty Wings or not? Is it not cost effective? But they didn't drop stuff like they do now. Like, you know, every month there's something new that comes out at fast food places. It might have been once a year back then. Food industry changed a lot. You know, they weren't dropping those Oreos and stuff like that, but I always would get excited. I wasn't making content, you know, 10 years ago, but Oreo started dropping their own stuff. I used to hunt for it for myself, you know. Like Fruity Crisp, a lot of people, you know, it wasn't popular back then like it is now, but it's still my favorite Oreo ever. And I don't know, if they ever bring back Fruity Crisp, I'm buying every one of them. I have a freezer in my basement. I'm getting them all. That's not a joke. That's how serious it is. They used to have Reese's Oreos, and don't have those anymore. But they were dropping flavors probably like, you know, once a year. Now they're dropping like 6 or 7 a year because they got a hold of it and it got popular. But where that aspect came from, that part of my content that you see, is because when I started eating once a day, these new Oreos would come out. I had to figure out a way to eat them somehow. So back then I was doing just Instagram, and I would do live streams, and I would try them on camera. I wasn't recording it. I just would try it in front of whoever was watching. I was like, dang, this is good, whatever. I started noticing that people were tuning in for the reviews. You know? So they would be like, oh, I missed the review, it was live. It's alright. So I put a camera next to my camera and I would record me talking to the live stream, reviewing the food, and then I would edit it into like a 1 minute thing, because the reviews are usually like 3 or 4 minutes, and I would post that, and they got really popular on Instagram. I enjoyed reviewing things live more than I did enjoy doing the whole live stream thing. Things were much different back then. I couldn't go back to that. I know the live stream thing was something that people really, really liked. But I had to, back then I used to film everything shirtless. Because truthfully speaking, I don't wear shirts in my house, especially in the summertime, or the spring. If you think I was cooking wearing the shirt, you're out of your mind. I put it on for the camera, and back then I used to do everything shirtless. Cook, clean, everything you saw, that, like, I would never put a shirt on, I don't care. The thing that changed was as my content got more popular, I would get messages from people who had children. Their children were watching my live streams. I curse a lot in my everyday talking. I curse. If I'm comfortable and I'm with my friends, I drop F-bombs, I drop, you name it. But I will get messages from parents saying, listen, can you tone it down? My kids are watching, my 6-year-old kid. And I get it at the end of the day. Like, it's still my choice. You know, people get mad at musicians for cursing in their records. Like, and they say, you know, like, you shouldn't let, I'm not a celebrity, but in their case, celebrities raise your children. I at first had that attitude, like, I am who I am, just tell them not to watch me. But what changed, ironically, is I have a nephew that, he's a teenager now, but 4 or 5 years ago, he's still a child to me, but I went over to my family, my sisters, and this dude has a phone in his hand. He's watching my videos, and I'm cursing, and I'm going, oh my goodness. And it kind of hit me, like, I'm not making kid-friendly content, no. But at the same time, I can't just be running around with a shirt on cursing, because there's little kids watching my stuff. And it did change. I had to tone it down a little bit, you know. So I don't curse anymore. Unless I were to go do something on like OnlyFans or Patreon or something like that, where it's behind a paywall and it's a different story, that kind of stuff has to go by the wayside. And I'm not talking about OnlyFans, that kind of stuff. OnlyFans is not only for that kind of stuff, alright? But I used to do live streams where the subject matter was... You don't believe me? Go to the live streams on this page, because I did like 4 or 5 on YouTube at this point too. I'm not wearing a shirt. And a few of them are demonetized. I'll be honest, I enjoy doing them, but you know, it have to be. I don't want to like put stuff behind a paywall and stuff like that. At that point, it would have to be one, because I couldn't monetize the content, which means, and 2, it would ensure that there's no children in there because you have to be 18 to pay. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I went by the wayside, but that's where the reviews came from. And I was a lot wilder back then. I don't know, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to calm down in my older age. But I remember specifically there was a Ben & Jerry's. It's probably why they don't like me still. They used to have these things called sliced. It was like a slice of Ben & Jerry's, I guess, like a pint slice, I think it was called. And I tried the first one, and there was no chunkage. I used to say chunkage all the time. I'm not saying I invented that term, but no one was saying it back then. This is like 5 years ago. Now it's like a common term. I'm not saying I invented it, but I definitely didn't get it from someone. Anyway, I got mad because there's no chunkage, and I took the Ben & Jerry's thing and I chucked it across my living room because that's where I used to live stream from. That video got a lot of views. I don't think Ben & Jerry's liked it very much though. But that's kind of where the content thing came from. There's a part of me that wants to do that kind of content again. More of like the adulter content, because that's a big part of who I am, which I've toned down a lot for this. But I don't want to do anything behind a paywall, you know. I mean, let Google monetize me. I'm not trying to get money from you guys. Just let the ads play. But yeah, that's my background. That's my food life story. That pizza was delicious. I'm thinking about sticking my, no. Oh, that pink lemonade, it just hits different at the end. Anyway, that was my food story. Hope you enjoyed the content. We went to pizza. It's tomorrow. It's Thursday when you're watching this, but it's Wednesday for me. So tomorrow there will be content. We'll be back tomorrow. More content. Butter. The hand signs. By the way, somebody said that this was lipstick on my hand. It is a smiley face, bro. It's not lipstick. Anyway, the hand signs I made to YouTube.